Hey guys, welcome to Learning Sim Sunday. Linebacker and I are going to be your instructors today. Big shout out to Classy Packs for that intro and for getting this Learning Sim Sunday stuff started. If you're not already familiar, he is an excellent streamer and a great pilot, just really seat of the pants kind of guy. Dogfights like a son of a gun. Oh, did it wrong.
There you go.
Yes, sir. All right, getting this all set up.
Yeah, man. Something a little funny if you want to start off with a joke here. You'll probably appreciate it more than everyone else.
Send it, sir.
You know about Zaxby's girls, right?
Go on.
So I went to Zaxby's today for lunch just a moment ago, and it was totally empty. There was like a car in the drive-thru. I parked and walked in, and got some boneless teriyaki wings to go and everything. And new young white chick working behind the counter. So I order, and I'm standing there waiting for the food. And she prints out, like pushes a button on the receipt paper, rolls out a roll, and starts,
Super Jeff.
writing or doing something on it. I don't really pay any attention to it. And she says, "Excuse me," and I look over and she goes, "Here," and she hands me this piece of paper. I'm like, "What is this?" She's like, "It's for you." I'm like, so I like open it up, and she like drew me a picture of a rabbit or some shit and put like hearts on it and wrote her name on it. I was like, "What is this?" She's like, "I made it for you." I'm like, oh my shit. I'm like, the very first thing that came to mind is fucking Zaxby's girls.
It's going to become a thing.
It's gotta be a thing. I don't know. I can't explain it. A little bit scared though. I bet she's got a weird sister and stuff.
Hey there, Mr. Logie.
You'll
All
understand more
right.
than anyone. Anyway, what's your you got a server up now?
Yep, server's going to be coming up just in a second here.
Okay, standing by to join.
I
And
don't
I've
know about
also
an
got
asshole, Mr. Logie.
the A10-1 up as reference, depending on how you want to start this.
Excellent. I think I'm just going to run through some of the link 16 functions, and we can field questions as needed. The TeamSpeak is listed right up in the corner, and feel free to pop in. I will try and keep an eye on it. I'll have to drag you down to the channel when you get here, and we'll go from there. The server is up in DCS. There are 2 free aircraft included. If you've never played DCS before and want to give it a try, there are 2 free aircraft that come with it. One of them is an unarmed P-51, and the other is a Russian equivalent of the A-10, the Frogfoot, the Su-25T. So go ahead and pop in there. You can see from this list there's several different aircraft besides the A-10, but today the A-10 is going to be our primary, so I've made it a little heavy on that side. Once we've done most of the A10 stuff, we're going to go ahead and field some questions. And if your internet bandwidth supports it, I strongly suggest you hit that exclamation point multi-stream and follow the link. And then you'll be able to see both chats.
User joined
And
your channel.
Huh. Interesting. I guess I don't have to drag anybody down. Let me set this to... All right. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to configure something here. I did not have the foresight to set this channel up. Talk powers here. Hey, Boob. Can you hear me? Can you talk back?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Change volume. All right. Cool. Anyway, once I get done with the Link 16 info, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can go over the basics on pattern flight and all that jazz.
User joined your channel.
Project.
All right, so at a separate time, we've already covered the whole basics of the A10. It's actually two separate videos. It got split in half because it went to multi-threading halfway through. You can find those on YouTube or in my highlights. And that was actually my first Learning Sim Sunday. So yeah, Spidey, if you want to learn the A10, I've already got two resources out there on top of what a ton of other people have already put up on YouTube for how-tos. So we shall go from there. I'm going to get this thing cranking. Once we've covered the very basics on the Link 16, just a couple of the functions, then we'll just go through and start fielding some questions, and then go from there. And if I'm talking bullshit at some point and you know that I'm wrong, call me out on it and send me the reference and let me know what the right answer is, because I'm not a pro, I'm not an A10 pilot. I want to keep learning to do better and be better as I go too, so I'd appreciate it if you've got the reference handy or pulled up, or you're looking up what I'm saying and I'm saying it wrong. Call me out. I don't want to teach people the wrong stuff, okay? Yeah, go for it, Twerky. APU started, generator on. Left and right engine generators on. Oxygen on. And flow.
User joined your channel.
EG, CDU set on. CICU set on. IFCC set on. Anti-skid on. I'll leave those lights off for now. Wing boost pumps, fuselage boost pumps on. Stability augmentation system on. Countermeasures set standby. So if you've had questions before, start thinking about it. Linebacker's been flying the DCS A10 longer than I have, and he's going to be your go-to guy if you have questions on what a keybind is default. So if you don't have a joystick that's capable of hosting, a HOTAS that can hold all those functions on it, and you need to know what the keybind is, he's your go-to guy. No, I didn't put a tanker in here, Top Boom. That's really dumb of me. I should have thrown some tankers in. We'll keep this underway for now, and then I might pause or stop the mission, bring the server down, throw a tanker or two in here, and then we'll go from there. That is a great question, Spidey. I don't know. I think it has something to do with the arcade mode type of the game, but I honestly have no idea. I've never bothered with it. I've never messed with it.
He also didn't specify if he wanted us to hit it with like Mavericks or
M9. And Roger.
User was moved to your channel.
What's up, Whistler? Go ahead and turn the displays on here. And I'm going to bring a bunch of flares. Just keeping the fuel, target practice rounds. Got a Sidewinder. Got a TGP. Got an AGM 65. Got a GBU 12. GBU 38. Bring another D. Got some rockets. And the wrong pylon. I want that.
Request rearming. Copy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They don't love it. They don't love the collisions. All right, T equals 2.3, 4.8. Gonna go ahead and get the left engine spooling. On my stats page, next. EGP, scroll down to the throttle. Little slew pops up there. 0, decimal, wait for it, 1.
Rearming complete.
Slew is complete. Let's go to the TAD page. Lat long. Net code. Setting your net code is important for lat long because it gives you a unique identifier and a way for people to know who's who. So communicate within your flight, the people you're working with, and decide who's going to be what for their own ID. And then use the same group ID. We tend to use group 4-5. It's just a force of habit kind of thing. Thank you, Immortal. Figured I'd snazz it up a little bit. If I'm going to pretend I know what I'm talking about, I might as well look like it too, right? All right, rearming is complete. Loading all. Left engine is a good start. Starting the right engine, we've got 18 seconds left on that. Cycling my enhanced attitude control and radar altimeter. Actually, I don't think that's enhanced, is it? I think I used the wrong acronym. Okay, I've got my left generator and my APU is also running, so I can turn the APU generator off. Flashing INS nav ready, T equals 4 minutes, 0.8 for error coefficient. Set that to nav mode. And I'm going to leave this on steer point. I set that to enhanced, e.g. enhanced guide. Yes, the finest Nomex. I need to make sure before I go to turn the lights on, there's a little pinky switch on the outside here. That's got to be set aft. I do that on my joystick. If you don't have that bound or don't know the keybind, you'll have to figure that out. Okay, get this turned on. All right, so now this middle switch here, JTARS, that's your networking switch. That's like turning your router on. So I'm going to turn the router on, and now if line is spooled up, I should see him on here. And it appears that he is not quite spooled up yet. Line, do you have JTARS on?
I'm still not inside the server here.
Oh, Roger. Lumber hacks on the lookout. Good shit, man. Nomex hoods. Very nice, Johnny. All right. Looks like we're all started up, spooled up. Only thing left is to shut the APU off. If you're in new from a different game, something with more pistons and fewer jets, an APU is like a tiny jet engine that they use as a gas generator to, well, it powers an electrical generator, and then it can also be used to start the engines in most aircraft that have them. And, oh, nice. Someone put smoke on there. What was I saying? APU. They use the bleed air off that tiny jet engine to drive
User
what's essentially a
disconnected from your
Dremel
channel.
tool. And they use that Dremel tool as the starter to run the jet up to speed. Who that was? Rob.
User was moved to your channel.
Yeah. All right, so as far as Link 16 stuff goes, if you want to use your cursor, I'm using China hat forward to cycle between aircraft ahead and cursor slew, or cursor centering map slew mode. And I can cycle to a finer resolution there in EXP2. There's 3 cycles with China hat forward there that'll do that. And then I can use my DMS forward and aft with my right thumb, and that'll zoom the map in and out. Use my cursor slew, look around. On here I can identify Sukhumi Babashar Airfield. Sukhumi Babashar Airfield right there. I go, okay, well that's the airfield. I can put a mark point on it with TMS right, short. And by the way, to do all this, I had to use my coolie hat left long in order to
User
get
joined
this
your
green
channel.
box around the outside. All right, where was I at? I can move the cursor around. Obviously, you can traverse more area when you zoom out. Finer control when you move in. So if you have the name of a city after you've checked your F10 map, you go, okay, well this is Duranda at Sukhumi. Well, let's zoom back in. We'll look over here at Gadada. And what's this? Zava. Back here. I'm gonna look for Mzava. It might be on his map, it might not. That's looking like a no, but here I can identify Eshrikobla. I'm probably butchering these pronunciations. Wow. And I'm shooting myself in the foot here because it's not labeled the same way on the map as it is on the chart. Anyway. Yeah, Steam Whistler, I'm not talking much in there just to avoid confusion and double speak, because if you're trying to watch the stream and see what I'm doing, it gets confusing when I've said it 30 seconds before and then I'm talking over it 30 seconds later again while I'm showing you. So we'll save the TeamSpeak stuff more for the interactions and the questions that follow. You know, if people have something they want to work on, that's what that's for. TGP's cooled down. Set that to air to ground mode. I do all this stuff in MGRS mode. The only time I would ever switch back to lat long mode is if I was trying to communicate with somebody who had no MGRS capability, so a non-US aircraft. And with the current lineup, that's probably never going to be a factor, except maybe in the Mirage. because the Mirage, as I understand it, only has lat long coordinate system. So it's much easier to reference terrain with the grid system. If you ever hear fighters calling position, they're always using Fox Hotel 27. You can see the size of the grid gives you a few seconds in the grid when you go to tell your position to someone else using an F10 map update. So it keeps everybody on the same page. Right now, this is pointing at Fox Hotel 27. You can verify that in here. I'm looking right in front of me in Fox Hotel 27. And we already did an MGRS course, but this is about 7/10 of the way across, I would say, maybe 7.5 to 8. And that's going to be about 3.5 tenths up. So I'm going to guess this is Fox Hotel 275735. 274737. Okay. So you see how that works. The more numbers you add, the more refined that percentage of easting and northing gets, down to a meter. The grid I just gave was what's called a 6-digit. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. And that's only down to the nearest 100 meters, or 100 square meters. Let's see. We're going to coolie hat right long to bring this puppy up. And we're going to scroll over to here. Scroll on out that way and point at that mountain. And we should notice on here that that diamond indicates where the camera is looking. So if I go to coolie hat right and move that camera, it should make pretty quick progress. Scrolling forward and aft because I'm so close to the ground here. So right now I'm looking about where that river is at. I can use this if I want to... Oh, hey there, F-15. I want to mark this location here. I point directly at the ground, right at the base of the object that I'm looking at, and I can drop a mark point with TMS right short. And now you'll see a mark point, Bravo, has appeared right coincident with the whatchamahooty, the diamond that reflects where the TGP is pointed. So now that that's down, I can hit TMS up short, followed by TMS up long with my right thumb, and that will identify Bravo, mark point Bravo, which I can find alpha by switching this rotary to mark points, the steer point rotary over to mark point mode. And there is no alpha, it starts on Bravo. Anyway. All right, so now I have Bravo set as my sensor of interest, or the left one is my sensor of interest, and the Bravo point with the wedding cake on it is my my SPI. Now, if I want to turn my SPI on, I can hit DMS left long. And like I said, Linebacker is going to be your guide to ask about keybinds for these commands. I'm just going off what the HOTAS controls are. So DMS left long, and when you're on the TGP, you'll notice SPI off turns to SPI on. This has no functionality with it. It's just located there. SPI's back off again. So when SPI is on, and if Linebacker is in my same frequency, or my group setting, my net settings, if Linebacker's in 4.5, and he's probably going to use own 4.2, just because that's how we do things, then he's going to be able to see on his display my purple jet shining a beam over to here, and he'll see something on his display that says, hey, this is where it's at, or this is what it's looking like. And then I can use this TAD to scroll this cursor over to his point, and TMS up short, TMS up long, and grab that point. And then once I've done so, I can, let's see, China hat forward long will center the cursor on that point, whatever the new SPI is, and then I can hit TMS right short and drop another mark point there. And dropping a mark point on someone else's SPI, if they have positively identified that as a primary point, is a good thing to do, because if they turn their SPI off, you lose all reference to it. And um, if you're slaving everything to their SPI, then you slave your TGP to your SPI so that it's looking at that point on the ground. When he moves his camera, it'll move yours and follow along. Linebacker, can you throw a SPI down
Yes, sir.
somewhere out in front of us? I'll broadcast mine real quick, and you can get a rough idea where I'm looking. Okay. So linebacker just brought himself up on the TGP here, and he turned his JTARs on. That's why the purple icon appeared. Like I said, he's got the 4.2 above it. My SPI's on for just general reference. You can throw something down near there with the TAD, and then slew your TGP to it. Set your TGP as soy, and broadcast your SPI, and then start cruising around. And I'm gonna grab it and watch my camera follow.
Okay. Give me just a second here. I'm finishing up my startup here.
That's a raging Roger.
So I'm gonna grab yours.
Oh,
I've got my targeting pod slave to that point. I'm gonna grab something different here. I'll turn mine
good
on.
shit, Lumberhacks.
He's on.
Copy, SPI's on. All right. Until it refined, it just had the diamond. Now it's got that box. Now I'm slave to that. I got a mark point down. Okay, it should be slaved if you can slew your TGP around. Mine should follow.
Sure.
Okay, so you'll notice on here the diamond, the green diamond, follows his wedding cake. And then there's another layer of wedding cake there that shows that mine is present. So as he's moving it and it updates, mine updates as well, and it moves the camera. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, I think that covers the basics on some of the data link stuff. That doesn't tell how to push targets, but it tells people how to hook stuff on the TAD and have the SA on what's going on and what your camera's doing if you don't drop a point. I'd say it's a good time to hand over to you, and you can take it up on the AFI. If you'll give me a minute, I'll make sure that the stream knows where to find it so that they can watch along and get the audio on your side without listening through TeamSpeak.
Yeah, sure.
And you're on push to talk now, right?
No, I'm currently on voice activation.
Okay. Then go for it, and we'll just listen here as well.
All right, sure. So yeah, I guess this is a really good opportunity. Holding short here, and a lot of things we see very often is
Nose wheel steering
in the
engaged.
online community. If you guys are trying to fly, people will just drive out onto the runway and cause an explosion, and it's funny and stuff all the time. But for serious gameplay, or if you really want to make it look professional and do things right, like you got this guy in an F-15 in the pattern here. I'll circle him with my cursor for a second. We just watched him land, and he's making right traffic there. I could have driven out right as he was landing, but I stopped, and as I stopped to land, I look left, I make sure there's no traffic on the runway, I make sure there's nothing coming in from the left, and then I look right and I clear. I'm basically looking all around the jet and trying to clear the traffic pattern. Once we've identified that there's nothing in the way, so I see this F-15's midfield right downwind for this runway we're about to take here. So I'm going to go ahead, while he's in the downwind, take the active. I've got 10 degrees of flaps in, so 1 notch. I'm gonna run the power up and hold it on center line. You know, just keep it on center line with rudder. Speed's coming alive. I got 90 knots now, 100 knots, 110. At this point, the rudder takes primary authority, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the nose wheel steering with the insert key or with the nose wheel steering key on the joystick. 160 knots. I'm going to go ahead and start the rotate. Wheels up, gear up. Maintain nose up attitude. You can trim the aircraft appropriately. Keep the controls neutral. Clear the pattern, check right. We are good. So I'm going to continue my outbound 325, Colt.
325, Colt's taking the active. Nothing coming from the left. We're clear right. Nobody's on base or final. Get centered up and punch it. Confirm flaps. Also, steering
Making
is
right
still
traffic.
on. Right traffic, Colt.
Which is kind of weird because normally traffic is
100 knots, there's a
standard traffic
steering.
pattern is left traffic. I'm making this right turnout because there's already right traffic here and I don't want to go against the flow. Although that can happen in real life if you're flying at a general aviation airport and guys are using 2 different runways.
Flaps.
Which generally doesn't happen, but it can happen, and I've seen it in my short real life aviation career. And but as much as possible, you try to keep the traffic flowing in the same direction here. You can find general traffic pattern rules, and the United States Air Force publication AFI 11-248 for the T6. The T6 Texan's the primary trainer, I think by Beechcraft. It's got a PT6. Pratt & Whitney turbo shaft engine that drives a propeller. And that's what all pilots pretty much learn to fly before they go fly helicopters or larger fixed-wing aircraft like C-130s, F-16s, anything like that. And NATO countries also send their pilots over to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas, where they learn. I'm turning right base now and staying at pattern altitude. Pattern altitude is 1,500 feet here, so I'm showing my radar altitude is 2,000, so I'm 500 feet high, but that's okay. And I'm turning onto the final leg, Colt, in line with the numbers.
Colt's beam the numbers, right traffic. Good data. Okay,
I'm
keeping
blind,
my smash
visual,
down.
gotcha. I'm making a right cut now to form up on you.
Copy that. Coming right, making base turn. It's about 45
I'm going to go ahead
degrees
and do
off the angle
your,
of the runway.
on the TAD, I just set my TAD to soy. I'm going to slew over your jet and TMS up short, and now on my heads-up display, I've hooked you so I can find you on the heads-up display here. It's put a little box around you.
Affirm.
If I lose visual, little box here.
Get the clues and cursor.
Bingo. There we go. Now I can see that box right on your jet. It's tracking you. I could go to air-to-air mode here if I wanted to. Pretty good setup.
Smash is 220. Tweaking my trim a little bit, keeping everything set and settled.
Going on the right.
Visual. All right, I'm going to form up on your wing, and you can take us out for some maneuvers.
Right. Right now. We'll get us oriented southeast here, heading towards Sakumi.
Two.
$2,000 is probably good altitude. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a happy place.
Line up on the runway.
How's it going, Samurai? Doing well, how are you?
stuff I just did here, I pulled up the targeting pod screen, and Colt was talking about changing your coordinate types. So on the left here, I've got UTM coordinates pulled up, so we're in grid 37 Tango, or I guess map 37 Tango, and grid Fox Hotel 37. On my targeting pod, I had lat long displayed, so I went into the air-to-ground mode and into the options panel by hitting OBS 1. And then on the right here, OBS 7 allows me to switch between LL, which is lat long, MGRS, which is my UTM coordinates here. And by switching to that, I can check anything directly in the center of the cursor is the grid coordinate for what I'm looking at. That's a really fast way to find out if I'm looking at
track IR
exactly the
makes all
right
the
target
difference.
or not. Turn latch on.
But it's not a
That's
requirement.
for the laser, and I change the range shown on the right here from metric to US because America. That is all. Because feet, everything works in feet here. We're in climbing. Our VSI rather is in feet per minute. Our altimeter is in feet. 1 nautical mile is 6,000 feet. So if we're doing 287 knots,
How's it going,
287
Frosty?
times 6,000. You know, so knots and feet, all that stuff is really easily related. So I'd rather use the feet and all that to convey reference measurements instead of meters. It just doesn't make sense. It's like Russians built this game or something. Let's talk about changing formation positions. So here we're established in echelon left. There's a standard process for switching formations. Basically, it's a cross under. So if I say 2 go echelon right, Colt's basically going to drop down and below the back of my
2.
aircraft behind the thrust stream coming out of my engines, and he'll form up on the right side of my wing in a 45-degree section about 2 wing widths apart, or 1,500, or I'm sorry, 150 feet or so. That's a proper way to execute a position change in formation. I can also say go line abreast, and he'll come out of echelon. He'll speed up a little bit.
2.
And you'll see him advance forward across the canopy here and move into a side-by-side type pattern. I can, if I were able to show my hand here, if I wanted to spread this out, I could push my hand up against the window and say, go combat spread, without ever saying anything to him. Just seeing me push against the window is like saying push him out. If I want him to come back in, I can rock my wings to him, and he'll know to close back up. If he could still see me, I'd, make a pulling motion and say, come back in. So say we're in this sort of position here, and we're going to attack Sakumi Airfield, but a SAM lights us up right here. We're getting spiked by a Tor or something, but we're listening to radio comms, and I can't say anything, and I definitely don't have time to type it. I may just have to turn here in order to indicate to him that we're going to turn. I'm just going to cut across the top of him here. He's going to fall behind and below me. And when I find this new heading of 175, he'll show up on my left wing here and kind of get the picture, because his RWR is going to also be saying SAM. So without even saying, hey, we're going to turn, you'd understand right away, oh, yeah, there's a SAM there, and we need to look out for this guy. Once we've maybe defeated this thing, like say we just executed a Maverick shot and defeated the Tor, if we wanted to turn back in, I'd go ahead and rock my wings and start the turn and make sure I go over the top of him. And after I pass him, he'll start the turn as well, and we'll resume our original heading for attack. These are tactical turns. There's also something that's called a cross turn. So right here, we're set up in a combat spread. So if we were in Eagles or something and we needed to quickly get turned around 180 degrees, I may, come over the radio and say, all right, let's break into this guy. Colt's going to break left. I'm going to break right.
Thanks, licking toes.
And we're going to kind of make a cross in the center. So I'll start turning like this, Then Colt's going to make a left turn and we'll get turned around and we should end up about 270 pointing the other way. And this allows me to look back and definitely know right where he's at the whole time.
I think in the hog I need to initiate these turns a little sooner.
A little bit. He's a little bit slow. So I guess now we'll talk about overhead patterns. So we'll make sure I'm in nav mode here. And section 2 of the A10-1 is standard operating procedures. In there it talks about and has a written out procedure for what the Air Force has used since the 1970s when this airplane was brand new. It tells you how to pre-flight, how you should go through the cockpit, exactly what the correct order is for starting the airplane, what all of the switches actually do and are called, and it's related to the A10A, but they're the exact same airplane. The only difference is they put a few new computers in it and modernized the airplane. Otherwise, it's basically the exact same thing. So Colt, I'm going to bring the engine power back just a little bit for everyone to form up. We'll go echelon left, and I'm going to set us up on a 3 miles straight in for Sakumi.
2 echelon left.
I don't know what runway that is, so I'm going to, on my upfront controller, and on my right MFD, I'm going to grab the CDU panel. I'm going to hit Function, Nav, and I'm going to go to Divert. Divert's going to show me the nearest airports. So I'm going to click the first one, which is Sakumi. It's going to tell me the runways are 30 and 12, so we're definitely going to be coming in on runway 12. I know this because if I look down, we're flying outbound right now on 300 heading. So the runway that we're going to be making our approach to is runway 12 behind us. So I'm starting my right turn here, 280 knots. I want to be setting up, and this is right at sea level here as well. So I want to be setting up about 1,500 feet.
Putting a little lead on so I can catch him faster.
And about 250 to 300 knots. So we're 297 right now in the descent and climbing. So we're at a good initial speed here. And by selecting Sakumi on the heads-up display, since we're in nav mode, you'll also see it's on the bottom right, indicating that that's the airfield we're currently flying towards.
Right now I'm unemployed, Samurai.
So I'm looking for this
Going to school.
heading indicator here on the bottom right where it
Get my
says 109
associates
right now. I'm looking
and
for that to
my
read
pilot
12
certificates.
something, and that'll mean we're in line with the runway more or less. But looking outside the cockpit, I'm not necessarily just always going to trust the instruments. You want to aviate, navigate, and then communicate. So we are pretty much lined up with the runway here. I'm going to go ahead and get turned in. I'm going to pull the power back just a little bit and throw some boards for the guys behind us to catch up. We're at 300 knots. I'm looking for 1,500 feet. We're going to fly a standard overhead pattern. So let's make sure we're echelon right at this point.
Coming right.
And we're going to fly a right pattern here. Reason for that is there's a town on the left-hand side.
Noise abatement. What the hell?
Yep. Not the same Air Force anymore. So the pattern, after we start our right brake, the outbound will be a turn to the right to a distance offset from the runway where the wingtip is just on the edge of the runway. It will be about 170 knots in the downwind leg, putting gear down and configuring with 1 notch of flaps. After we do this, we'll be starting a descending right-hand turn on energy, which will be indicated by the meatball, and I'll highlight that here in just a second. So here we call up initial. We just flew a 3 mile initial. And pretty much no one has to say anything here. Whenever we get to the first braking point, the first guy on the right will peel off to the right in about a 3G turn. It's going to look something like that. And I'm going to give it a few seconds to let him get established in his downwind. And about this point, I'll do the same myself. And I'm going to reduce the power. I'll be looking for a 300 heading. 425.
Gear 1 notch. 200.
Wait, 29. That's about good right there. And as I look
Watching
out
my
at the
trim.
wing, the runway's right on the tip of the wing, just about where the ailerons are. So I'm kind of flying that wing right down the runway. That's about the proper amount of lateral offset. And I'm still keeping my altitude at about 1,000 feet here. I've reduced my speed and go ahead and extend the gear. Go ahead and grab one
Two
notch of
space.
flaps. Copy, and Colt's turning base in front of me here. Once I get the gear down on the left side of the heads-up display, you'll notice an angle of attack indicator. That's telling me that I am fast. I want to continue to reduce speed. I'm doing 190 knots now, turning base behind you.
Rolling out final.
170, 160. Grab the next notch of flaps, and there's the
I'm looking
green
for people
meatball.
on the runway. I'm
And
looking for
once I get
people
to
on the
that meatball, I want
taxiways
to pretty
about to
much
pull onto the runway.
maintain that meatball
Altitude.
all the way down to the runway. Add power as needed.
Whoa.
The proper landing speed should be about 120, 130 knots, and a little bit heavier if you got more on you. So we're doing about 130 here, 135. I'd say that's about correct.
Little gust going over the end there.
Put wind in here.
Yep. Just a
Pitch.
wee bit. Just the tip.
Right down to the numbers. Go pull the speed brake in, add power. Gear up, full power. I'll clean up one notch of flaps, but I'm going to do a go around since I've got guys on the runway in front of me.
Down slow. Nose wheel steering's engaged. Power still idle. Easy on the brakes. And rolling off. Easy on the brakes. Keep that speed coming down. Two's clearly active.
Roger. Climbing right turn. Same thing, looking for my lateral offset. There's 1,000 feet.
Clean up the boards and flaps. Continue taxi.
29. There's my
Thanks,
30
Chili.
heading.
Everybody learning stuff so far?
Power's
Proving worth
coming
your
back.
time? What are your questions?
Beam the numbers. Gear coming down. First notch of flaps. 40% speed brakes. We're looking for 45-degree offset from the numbers here. So it should be about there where the nose step is on the wing over my right shoulder. Right here. Start a right turn and fly that meatball. Speed brakes as needed, power as needed. So I'm a little bit under energy. I'm going to add some power. I'll watch my sink rate. I got 1,000 feet per minute sink rate. Green meatball, we're on energy. Coming.
I'm out. See you next time, Colt.
Gute Nacht.
Guten
Gute
Tag.
Nacht.
Mains, nose, more brakes. And Hawk 2's full stop.
User
Sakumi.
disconnected from your channel.
Talk about departures next, I guess. Talk about two different types that are primarily used. First one is an element departure where you're taking off in formation with someone, and the second would be a shotgun style takeoff, which is where one guy takes off and there's a 20-second delay, and then the second guy takes off and that's for decongestion of the traffic pattern. You're taking off and just straight departing.
I'll let you know about that pattern in a second.
You can launch
Equalizer.
at the same time. There's some guidelines in the AFIs that will provide the links to that allow you to read a little bit more about that. If you're scrambling, it usually works out where, or if you're in a fighter like an F-15, you typically take off a shotgun so that you have maneuvering room to execute high performance maneuvers at the end of the runway to climb, for example, to 10,000 feet or more in order to get high and fast as quickly as possible. Whereas for strikers, like if you had a flight of F-4 Phantoms or something, or A-10s that are departing, you usually see them depart in formation. And as they're departing in formation, that allows them to maintain close formation without having to delay any operations for forming up with each other. And there goes Colt lagging, holy crap.
People must be joining.
Maybe. You just did the weirdest like polka dance thing in front of me. You did that sawing thing, except you didn't saw me in half this time.
Yeah, give it time.
Body's ready.
Another thing, in DCS, I really like everybody to have the lights on, just because even though it's daytime, everyone has a better chance of seeing each other with all the lights on.
Yep. The AFIs will say lights as needed. The A10 manual will prescribe strobes. So like I've got the strobes on right now, but I don't have any nav lights. Nav lights are good, kind of as an extra visibility. You don't have to put on the nav lights, but they are definitely a good recommendation.
Yeah, just do what you can to make yourself visible so that if someone's on final, they'll see you on the taxiway. And conversely, if you're on final, someone on the taxiway will see you making your approach. Also, make sure you've got your landing lights on for that purpose too.
You are, if basically in general aviation, if you're inside 10 miles from an airport, you want to be as visible as possible.
Yep, people joining.
Yep. I'm gonna roll out front here.
Logie said, fuck going front.
Yep.
Do what I want.
I'm gonna watch the afterburner departure though. Oh yeah. We'll stop here. We'll have Logie throw the shotgun takeoff. So we'll start rolling 20 seconds after Logie, and the second group, I guess Colt and I, will roll a element departure with a right turnout, 270 degrees, and I guess we'll climb and maybe go find something to shoot at.
Yeah, I didn't put anything in here, but we could blow up some schools and whatnot.
Awesome. There he goes. I got a clock down here, so this allows me to check the time. He started at 40. By the time he's at the end of the runway and wheels up, we'll start rolling. Throttle's advancing, Colt.
Twos, brakes, throttles, flaps.
Right. Yep.
Keeping an eye on my element lead here.
There goes Logie in the unrestricted climb.
Over 100, there's the nose wheel
30.
steering.
Rotate here.
That was unintentional. My trim was not properly configured, apparently.
Check gear, BT dubs.
Okay, gear, flaps, engines are good.
All right, formation position while we're outbound here. I'm gonna get us rolled out 290. Headed back towards Godota.
2902.
Throw some percent in here for you to maintain in tight formation. I want to talk about formation orientation and how to hold, how to control it.
Sure.
There's basically ABCs. So A is altitude, B is bearing line, C is closure, your rate of closure to the lead aircraft. Altitude basically means, from my perspective as the flight lead, I want to be as constant as possible. So right now I'm at 1,800 flying west. I want to hold this altitude as best as I can. I'd like to hold this heading, and I'd like to hold the speed as constantly as I can to help minimize the amount of effort required by the wingman in the formation. For Colt, ABC means he wants to try to stay at the proper altitude relative to me. So basically 5 to 10 feet just below my aircraft, off to my left side there. From his perspective, you'll see what it looks like through the cockpit. He's got some reference points. He's going to pick points on my airplane, and he's going to try to keep my plane in the same part of his screen by keeping my airplane in the same spot relative to his canopy frame rail here. Maybe like putting the wing next to a mirror or something. I'll let you talk about your reference points here. As far as the closure is controlled by two different things. One is your left hand and the other is your right. The left hand is your power. So if Colt starts falling behind me, he's going to fix that by advancing the power, but small amounts. You want to think like little toe application to the gas pedal in your car. Very finite power changes. And, if it's not enough when you start putting power in, maybe you need a little bit more. So, kind of progressively add the power in. You just don't want to be snapping the throttle full forward and full aft. The bigger the changes, the more jerky the formation's going to be. So you want smooth forward and backward. Kind of think like bouncing on a medicine ball. Roll to the left, roll to the right, roll forward, roll backwards. But you want the changes to be small so that you stay in the same position. Same thing with the stick. If he's drifting too close to me, he'll move the stick over to the left just a little bit to drift back away. If he wants to move closer to me because he's drifting away, he'll move the stick back to the right there, and it'll bring the airplane closer in. So formation flying, that's pretty much it. And a lot of guys will get like a death grip on the throttle and on the stick, and you'll feel your hands sweating and stuff. When my dad was
2 fingers for each.
Yeah, when my dad was flying T-38, something he would always tell his students is, if you start getting really tense like that, feeling yourself get sweaty palms, a neat little trick you can do is just start wiggling your toes. Just take your mind off of formation flying. Keep watching what you're doing, but wiggle your toes or do something else. Like find something that works for you. But if you wiggle your toes and you just kind of take a deep breath for a second and relax, just focus on moving the stick around, nice and relaxed. Deep breaths, wiggle the toes, no big deal. And it'll take a little bit of practice to get it to where you can hold it in position like that. You want to talk about how to hold position off of your reference point?
Yeah, for my reference point, I'm just looking for a certain distance. Whatever you decide to set, that's what you're going to set. My preferred position cue here is right down the left side of his canopy rail. I set the wing tip on the bottom of the canopy rail, and then I look at the aft portion of the wing tip, and I line that up. And that's about right for your angular spacing here. And that's going to be just behind my mirror with where my head is currently placed. But obviously, if I lean around the cockpit, my head moves around too. So.
And that really happens. Actual pilots are different heights. You'll see really short girls, really tall guys, all flying the same types of fighters, or even B-52s, C-17s. All those do aerial refueling and formation flight.
Yes, we are in church
different
now.
Different size pilots are
Zero.
offer different perspectives. So every individual person has different references based on your physique, your character, and where you put your head in the cockpit. So that can always change. So just try to interpret that and become an artist with placing the airplane.
Can't emphasize enough what Line said about small throttle inputs. If you are constantly jamming the throttle forward and back, you're making a lot more work for yourself in the pitch realm because as you accelerate, the aircraft pitches up, and as you decelerate, the aircraft pitches down.
Yeah, everyone gets really angry with large input. Think of that fist. You're holding the throttle. That fist is like your girlfriend. You want small inputs. If you start jamming it forward and backward, she's gonna get real pissed at you. So you wanna be nice and smooth with the application there, and you don't want to go, too deep and then too shallow with the power and then back in. She's just gonna get confused, and the jet's gonna get angry at you, and the flight lead's gonna get angry at you, and linebacker's gonna rage, and you're gonna be on the next episode shits and giggles.
And Roger.
Here. What can we blow up? That tower right 4 o'clock looks like a good candidate.
Tally.
I think we tried this before and Buddy Lays and wasn't working. You got Lays codes configured?
I'm on standard.
Okay, standard.
Let me
I got
separate and switch.
1688.
Oh, okay.
We can
That's
we can
good
switch
then.
up. I don't think anyone else is here that can disrupt it right now.
All right, I'm going to establish in the perch and get the lay set.
Roger that. I'll go ahead and quiet
I'm off
the target.
All right, now I'm converting back to air-to-ground mode. Little diamond on this screen also references on the HUD where that's looking. I've now set the right MFCD as my sensor of interest. It's got the green box around it. I point that green diamond where I want the camera to be looking.
What I'm doing here is I'm just
and then I
configuring
wiggle
my
the stick.
stores management system
and that
to
locks
drop
it to the terrain.
GBU12 and CCRP, which is continuously calculated release point. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the targeting pod screen, and on my left MFD, I'm going to go ahead and reorient back to the TAD. I'm going to whip the nose around. Now, there's a lot of awesome fancy sensors inside the A10 here, and I can slew this thing around for days, but the best thing a fighter pilot has are his MiG spotters, his eyes. Look outside the cockpit. Look at the target. If you see guns shooting but you don't see the thing that's spewing the bullets, look at the general area, turn, point the nose at the target, and on the heads-up display there's a little diamond. That little diamond is where the targeting pod is looking. So at this point I'm going to start slewing it around and you'll see that diamond start moving. Notice the screen on the right's moving, and I'm moving the diamond right up to about where that thing, oh look, there it is. If I check the monitor, I can see, hey, there's a tower there. So if I want the bomb to hit this freaking target, I'm going to put it right on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and switch to white hot mode. That's on the keyboard. If you're using a simple joystick, it's right alt, left arrow. That'll work for you there. I'm going to go ahead and TMS up and switch to point mode, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my SPI on so that Colt knows where this target is. Colt, you can go ahead and talk about grabbing that SPI again. We already practiced this. So it's a really good opportunity for you to demonstrate this in a tactical environment. Now my targeting pod's on my right wing, so I'm going to go ahead and get turned around here and fly a clockwise orbit so that I can continuously keep the laser on the target. If I've got the targeting pod on the right wing and I'm flying a left circle, then at some points that camera has to look through the A10, and a camera can't see through metal unless it's an X-ray, and that's definitely not an X-ray. So here we go. And scanning the target now.
Like final attack heading 130. Your speed's not showing up right now. I'm just getting the diamond. I'm not getting the cake. My speed is active right now. It's showing to the east of where yours is. Northeast of the airport, confirmed? Or is it just west of the airfield?
Just southeast of the airport. Or on the east side.
Okay. Can you see my speed? And then can you confirm that that's target? Okay, I've got it now.
Yeah, we're there. You got it? I had you hooked before, so if I had Colt's aircraft hooked, that's why it wasn't showing up. So I had to
jump
back
I've got
over
that purple line
to the TAD, deselect you, and then reselect my targeting pod. Laser's active, sir.
Copy,
Turn the
laser's
laser arm on.
active. All right, laser spot search. Okay, GBU 12 is selected.
I want to fly a nice big circle
Can't
here
see here.
so that I can keep the laser pointing at this thing. Colt's going to point his nose at the target.
Final attack heading is going to be 130, so I'm going to need you on the west to northwest side for lasing.
Roger. And northwest. And what we're talking about here is the attack geometry. If he's going to fly inbound on 130, he's going to be attacking from northwest to southeast. So if I was lasing the back side of a barn and he was going to drop on the front side, there's no way his bomb could see the laser. So I have to be on the same side as Colt in order for him to reference the target that I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm going to make a turn in place and then turn inbound.
Roger. You inbound?
Colt's inbound, 60 seconds.
Roger. Laser's active.
Understand, lasing. All right, I'm dropping in CCRP mode. I'm watching for the countdown timer. It's going to come flying down this line, that little circle dot, not the dashed one, but the other one. It's going to come down the line with the timer, and it's going to, yep, there it is, 20 seconds, 19, 18. So when that gets to a few seconds before, it's going to slide down the line, and when it gets to the middle of that dot, I'm going to drop. Okay, cancel laser.
Cancel.
Push it up.
Pickle, standby laser.
To 360. Okay, heads up for.
Bombs away. Ready, laser.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think my game
10
just
seconds.
crashed or the internet dropped.
Raj.
The worst time ever.
I queued the laser up at the last second. We hit kind of close, but it's not
Not
laser
dead on.
precision. Yeah, it was. How far was it? That's 37 meters. Oh, well, we shacked it. It was good enough. It was about 10 meters to the northeast of the base, but shack
Gotcha.
tower.
Yeah, I can see the smoke out there. Well, good effect. The tower is no longer there. That sucks. I need to fix that. I've got a old router.
Gonna try and plug the old puppy in for a while. It's
Maybe.
factory. TMS up short, TMS up long, verified
that
in
one works.
point mode, turning inbound. Using coolie hat short, left and right, in this case left, to cycle the left MFD over to verify that I have the correct weapon configured.
Close enough, though. You got the laser indicator there, right? You found the target and everything?
I didn't use the spot search, I just went with the SPI that time.
Okay.
It's important to note that you want to turn the laser off while the bomb is in flight until the last 15 seconds before impact, or the bomb will overcorrect too soon and it'll fly the wrong trajectory down to the target. Here,
Specifically in
the
DCS.
icon is moving between the carrots, which means it's within the envelope for the bomb. I put it on
the actual
line
weapons,
and pickle.
Nowadays, they have corrections for that. Early, Gen 1 laser-guided bombs had that same effect. That was back in the Vietnam era and early Desert Storm. These things
30
sound,
seconds to impact.
they're like really loud clicks. So if you were on the ground and someone dropped a GBU 12 on you or a GBU 10 or something like that, you'd hear these spring-loaded fins clicking as they change. They are very loud, so you know you're about to get vaporized by freedom if someone drops one of those. PS-guided bombs don't do that. I think it's kind of cool.
1 second to impact and splash.
I don't know why you'd want someone to,
Be
hear
aware.
that weapon coming. If you have the capability of dropping a GPS guided bomb as opposed to a laser, don't let them know. The last thing they're going to hear is roaring wind as a transonic 500 to 2,000 pound munition either airbursts or penetrates the mountain that they're hiding in and sends them to the waiting queue for their virgins.
Waiting queue. And hot for a rocket engagement. I get stabilized. I pull the first stage on my Warthog trigger. That stabilizes the platform. And then I pickle off my rockets. Shack. If for some reason I don't want the drag, I can go to the DSMS or the dismiss. Selective jettison that. I want to jettison the rack. I want to punch the whole thing. Goodbye. And back to the stats page.
You know how to do force correlate?
Force correlate for the INS.
No, force correlate is a function on the Maverick, the
No.
AGM-65K. It allows you to, without having a target locked, stabilize it to a point on the ground and fire that way.
Yeah, I need to learn that.
Works with AGM-65K, which is a TV Maverick.
But the G is also TV, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. I believe it works with the K. I'm not sure about the G, but since you mentioned that, I'm going to go ahead and try it.
Takes 3 minutes from the time you turn the electro-optical system on for the Maverick to align and for the sensor heads to cool. The sensor head inside has to be super cooled because the AGM-65D is an infrared guided munition, and it just takes that long for the sensor to reach that super cooled status so it can differentiate temperatures of
I was a
other
little bit
targets.
close there.
CAD.
A little bit.
Yes, the tip.
You're talking about me to the ground?
About your bullets almost into the ground on me. Cool.
I apologize.
Sorry.
Sorry, Canada.
Sorry.
While we
Sorry,
wait. This particular school, just fuck it. First stage, stable, confirmed, and guns.
Pull up, pull up.
Solid beeping tone is a max performance turn.
How does your national anthem go again?
So
Oh,
Canada,
sorry.
we're sorry, my friend.
Not cool.
This particular fox.
Altitude,
I put target practice rounds. Glad to hear it, Hauser. Glad you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're learning something. Hopefully if you don't already play DCS, you might consider picking it up. It's another one of those that too few people know about. It's for as much frustration as it has caused, just with the little glitches and bugs, and for all the shit we talk, I think it's the best thing out there right now for this type of simulation. Anyway, I put the target practice rounds in, so I have some tracer effect.
pull up.
The other rounds for the A10 have no tracer effect.
Altitude, altitude. Pull up, pull up.
Good players.
I wish that Mike and Charlie programs were next to each other. Like, I wish it was Charlie for oh shit and Delta for casual.
Casual, oh shit.
Well, like this right here, where I'm just throwing off any Strellas that happen to be in the area. That way I don't really have to worry about the Strela. It's going to immediately seek something else anyway.
Right.
Writing about air warfare. What are you writing about air warfare there, Hauser?
Pull up. Pull up.
Okay, I'm departing.
Altitude. Altitude.
Getting some pretty intense lag right now. How many people are on the server?
Sure.
There's only a handful. Maybe it's my flares are fucking everything up.
User disconnected from your channel.
Could be. Maybe this game is awesome.
Only the finest. Oh, hey, my sensor's back. So if I want to know where the camera's looking, I can follow this little icon right here. Swinging around, swinging around, swinging around. Right there, that's where the camera's looking. So this particular fuel tank. Force correlate that. Rifle.
Copy rifle.
Force correlate. Rifle.
Pull up. Pull up.
The constant beeping tone means you're right on the verge of a stall or you're entering a stall. I just suck the stick back here and it starts beeping. Aircraft loses control and it kind of starts buffeting around.
Pull up. Pull
She
up.
doesn't like to be manhandled. She likes big, slow, deliberate movements. You can be quick as long as you don't exceed that that critical angle. She'll behave really well. All right. CDU function 2 for navigation.
Nice afterburners you got there.
You like those?
Scuddata.
Very much.
You fuck.
I just had to demonstrate.
I'm much too
For what
close
reason?
here,
I don't know.
but now they know.
I see the shoot. Good shoot. Man, that came off the wing and tracked really nice.
There we go. Okay, we've got somebody on the active, fixing their role.
Yeah, Colt, do you ever in air-to-air mode use the bore search mode? EMS up?
That's all I ever use.
Gotcha. Nice. You can tell when that's active. You'll have a little, your little circle there spinning around the crosshair. The little crosshair is the gun cross. The little circle that's spinning around there is where the AIM-9 seeker head is looking. Basically, point that at a target. I think something down here on the ramp. Well, I'll point it at this target here. It'll lock up the F-15. You'll hear the lock tone.
Kill the 109.
Kill the one on.
Altitude.
Sorry, I've already got an
altitude.
F-15 locked. Switch to air to ground mode though. DCIP. We'll use the selector panel rocker switch on the front controller to find the Maverick. Set the Maverick screen to soy. Fly out to the north here. We're over our little radio tower. Re-attack one of the buildings there next to it. We'll try force correlate. So the way you do that is you rock the boat switch forward or aft and then back into the center position. With the boat switch centered, I think you hit TMS down or TMS left. I can't remember.
I I think it might be down.
I think it's
I'll
TMS
find out
down.
here in a second. I'm gonna load some up. Oop. Hard stop. I want to take off.
Why is it gotta be Colt flight?
KH65 G clear, clear, clear.
What else do you want to cover today?
Just their questions.
All right, bring the questions on, I guess. Yeah, that did it actually.
Down?
As far as yeah.
What
Node
questions
switch
do you
center and
guys have
force
about
correlate, that allows
DCS?
me to slew around.
What can we do to help you understand some of the basic operations? One good thing to look into is uncontrolled airfields.
Maybe.
Let me pull up a link for that.
Yeah, there it goes.
Refueling complete.
Are you aware of a way for the A10 to buddy lays for the Ka-50 or vice versa?
It does not work. Russian to US is non-compat.
There you go, Ida Shannon.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, it's too bad.
That would be an awesome capability.
Or even if the Mirage would allow it right now.
The Mirage,
Wait,
they
wait.
are working on it. I tried it with Texas. It does not work currently, but in the future we will be able to laze for Mirage 2000s. Box
Let's
2.
go to the TAD. Okay, so to share SPI, right now I'm sharing SPI. I'm using the right thumb to press the data management rocker or the hat switch to the left long, and that turns my SPI on and off. You can see it on the TAD page right here.
Grateful.
On or off and on. And as long as he's in the correct net configuration, so the same
That didn't
group.
work.
How's it going, Cos? Then he'll be able to see my SPI, which in this case is the airfield. If I wanted that to be my SPI, I drop a mark point with TMS right, and then I hit TMS up
Are those
short
getting
and
close?
TMS up long.
You got
And
me
that drops
finally.
that little
Did I?
wedding cake symbol
Awesome.
right in the middle of the
I'm just using the gun
Foxtrot
funnel.
mark point. And now that is my SPI. And if I hit China hat forward long,
That's a pretty damn hard shot.
that
man.
slews my
You're
camera
like a mile
and
out
the
front.
cursor both over to it. If I come over here, the TGP is now looking
Wonder
at
if I
that
can make the
point,
field, though.
or as best it can.
You lose your engines?
Gunstrike for CAS, where you want to
No,
minimize
I got 'em both.
dispersion, but the area has man pads. Max range, slant angle to do a run. For Russian man pads, like basically the Igla or I guess the Stinger is pretty comparable. You can't really minimize dispersion because if you want to try and fire before they do or at the same time they do, you need to be firing at about 2 miles out on your pipper. Cheers, Spezzo.
Oh my god, Logie.
If you want to minimize dispersion,
Oh,
you're just going to have to ride it in and evade the missiles, popping
What did you
flares on the
just
way
launch?
in. That's really the only thing you can
120s.
do. Now, generally, especially from a
That
head-on
looks like the
aspect, the
freaking
missiles will
SAM
go
launch,
stupid if
man.
you're popping
That
flares
hurt.
going into them. So if you're diving at a man pad, trying to kill the man pad, and he fires and you see the plume, you just dump
Very
the
interesting.
Charlie program flares right over here. You scroll over, and generally, if I'm in an AO that I know doesn't have radar, I'm just always in Charlie, because you'll get a warning from a radar with the
Are you getting any
RWR, but you
any
won't
other
get warning
questions here?
from infrared. Yep, we're covering how to take out man pads with the gun while trying not to disperse everywhere.
Gotcha.
I'm going over a couple different things, and then the countermeasures to get in close enough and not die.
Oh, I see what's going on. Yeah, I'm just in game. I wasn't hearing you talk. You're just doing your stream thing.
Yep, I'm fielding the questions in my stream.
Roger that.
Hopefully everyone that's watching is watching on the multi-stream and they can see both perspectives and the questions being asked on both streams. Are you getting questions on yours?
I'm not seeing them.
Okay. If you guys have more technical questions, Linebacker would be the guy to ask because he has the AFIs available for all the simple stuff and tons of DCS experience for the less simple stuff, just about what works in the game versus what doesn't. Okay, I'm getting an
listening in
inventory.
TeamSpeak only now. I can't have both going. It's messing my head.
Yeah, you gotta mute one or the other generally. Okay. Hauser's asking if you're just operating in an area with man pads and want to minimize dispersion, you want to fire less than 1.5 on your pipper. And if there's man pads operating, that mic program works pretty well. It's 1 flare every second for 20 seconds. What's the acronym for AFI line?
Air Force instruction.
There you go, Cosmic. Can you drop those here in the chat? Just the names of the appropriate AFIs, if
Yeah,
you have
sure.
them available.
Switch to your channel real quick.
Raj.
I'll pull as many of the links as I can. The A10 one, I can give to you if you want to put it somehow in the TeamSpeak so that people can download it or something. Otherwise, I had to pay for a copy of it through Scribed. It was like $14 or something for like a 1-year access, and I got F16, F15, A10, all that stuff. But I'm happy to share that wherever people can download them.
Yeah, I don't want to screw Scribed out of their
Yeah,
subscription,
right.
so we'll just teach from it and go from there. But the free stuff, I don't mind sharing links for or
So here, and these are coming straight from the U.S. Air Force website, by the way. So
and Roger.
just as a heads up, this one is General Flight Rules.
These would be good things to bookmark, guys, if you just want to continue working on your own. That's the nature of the study sim. But it's good stuff to know, stuff that I need to work on too.
This one is Aircraft Cockpit Information Flight Signals. Not really critical if you're not doing like a Skype call or something, but it's really cool to know the hand signals and know how to rock wings and stuff. There are a few that are like rock wings, or you can use your imagination. Use this as a general guideline. But if you are flying like doing a red flag on the 373rd server in DCS or another large server where there's more than 10 people playing, and you hear buddies in your TeamSpeak talking, and you can actually communicate to your wingman if you pre-brief how to talk to each other with wing signals, or bobbing your head or looking left and right in the game or doing something like that. You can say, if I do this, it means this. If I do this, it means this other thing, and so forth. Use this as a guideline for that. This would be a really good one. Let's see here. Fundamentals.
Press and hold the message key.
I'll give you T38 and T6 Texan. Those are going to teach you how to. They're giving you numbers for specific aircraft. Take the numbers out and replace it with how to, whatever airplane you're flying. So be it the A10, the F15, whatever it's going to be.
Change out the altitudes and airspeeds for what's appropriate.
Or distances, closure rates, anything like that. So there's this one. The next one is going to be the T38C. So for anyone who's looking forward to the F5 when that comes to DCS, the T38C is a training version of the F5. And this one's going to talk about how to fly the plane. The wings are very similar. They don't perform the exact same way. but they're
Nobody's
very
coming
similar.
that way. I'm going to take off
So if
opposite
you
the
read
flow
the
because I don't feel like
251 document,
taxiing.
you'll know a lot about the F5 before it ever comes out, and you'll be probably one of the better players right off the bat. As soon as the jet comes out, you'll be familiar with how to start it, the cockpit flow, the speeds, the altitudes, how to fly the thing, what it's capable of, what it's not capable of, emergency procedures, all that good stuff. And let me see if I can find one for the described article, A10A. Described has a really good one for the F-15, A, B, C, and D variants. The F-15C is modeled inside DCS. The A-10A is basically the same plane as the A-10A, except the A-10C has all the electronics upgrades. Punch out of this jet here.
That's a raging Roger.
I'll go ahead and find. Let me find the F-15 as well. I've got which ones here? I've got F-15. This is from a different website, Aviologs, which is like Scribed, but really good source for aircraft PDFs. This particular link is for non-nuclear weapons delivery for the F-15. I think it talks about air-to-ground weapons in here a little bit, but mainly air-to-air. So guns, short-range, and medium-range air-to-air missiles. So that's a really cool read. It's got a lot of really good information on weapons parameters and how to fire them from the F-15 and what they're really capable of. So if you ever see some developer from ED who says, no, AMRAAM is slow and it can't track and blah blah blah, that's bullcrap. Don't listen to them. The AIM-7 and the AIM-120 are extremely capable weapons. The F-15 was designed to crush the Russians. Superior quality. The Russians came up with the Su-27 as a superior quantity. They made more targets because they felt like the Americans didn't have enough red stars painted on the side of their jets. So the Israelis also. I mean, the Israelis they got the first kill with the F-15. They have used it, in my opinion, better than everyone else in the world. And the Israelis have an awesome F-15 platform, and really use it to its full capability as a striker and as a air-to-air fighter. Let's see here, F-15 1. Block 7 and newer Eagles. This is the one. Yep, this is it. So although the F-15 in DCS is not a full fidelity cockpit, I think they're planning on releasing it so that you can click all the switches. So learn about that for one day when that comes out. Also, it teaches you basically what all the systems do and how to interpret them, what the speeds and everything are for it. Section 2 is again the procedures for all these documents. TO stands for technical order. So technical order 1 F-15 ABCD-1. This is the fundamental flight document for how to fly the F-15 or the A-10.
Thank you for the
You want to go
follow.
to section 2 and read all the procedures, and that's
Say hey in
that's
chat.
how the real Air Force pilots actually learn to fly these things. That's what you want to go read.
And swing
If you
by
know that,
Linebacker
you
and
can go
give
to
him
an
a
air
follow
show
too.
and
He's full of good stuff.
talk to a fighter pilot, and they'll still look at you like you're
Information.
a
Giggity.
geek or something. But you'll know you're really talking about the right stuff there. That's the actual document, and they'll probably maybe be wide-eyed if you do get that opportunity. Let's see here. Anything else? What else would we want to show here? Maybe something on UTM coordinates. If I have one, I don't think I have a document for that yet. Here we go. Here's a link to the wiki. So we were talking about the LL versus MGRS. MGRS uses UTM, which is the Universal Transverse Mercator Coordinate System. This is the wiki page that talks about it. So you can use lat long,
Awesome, Lumber.
but MGRS is a much more effective way of communicating what targets you're looking at. So if you read through this, it's a pretty short read on Wikipedia. It talks about how to understand the coordinate systems, and the maps that are pre-set up
So?
don't change. So if you go onto Google and you look up 37 Tango or 38 Tango, it's actually going to take you to the Black Sea, and you're going to see the Caucasus Mountains and Krimsk and Tbilisi. You're going to see all those cities there that you fly in the game. They're there in real life, and that's an actual grid coordinate that they really use. So that's pretty cool.
Pull up, pull up.
In the DTS simulator for the Air Force, which is the classified version, they've got more of these grids. They've got one for every grid on the planet. So you can load up one for Kandahar. I think you were at Kandahar, right, Colt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can load that up if you want, if you have access to it. And you can go fly any of these profiles in DCS/DTS for real. It'd be really cool if they would release that map instead of freaking Nevada. Pretty sure a lot of guys would like to get into an A-10 and go fly Afghanistan or Iraq.
Some cool mountains there. Be
yeah,
fun
very cool
to
mountains.
have some scenarios with Pakistan or India getting feisty.
It'd be, I think, quite a business opportunity if we were just go ahead and liberate that country, and get all the a-holes out of there. We could have pretty much unlimited access to
Oh my god.
opium for the medical industry, to lithium and other heavy metal refinement. And think about those slopes, man, 18,000-foot mountains. You could open quite a ski resort there in Afghanistan.
Their tourism industry used to be one of the biggest. I think
Hashtag
that was the
52nd
70s.
state. What do you think? White House
God.
petition?
Pull up, pull up.
Nope. No, I didn't serve in the Air Force. I was in the Army, the U.S. Army, as a forward observer for 3 years.
Altitude.
I did my one tour and
Sorry, I
decided
shot
it was
you
time
down
to go
there,
to school.
Herein.
All right, fine.
So,
Sorry,
sorry.
I was all
Sorry
tapped
about
out, so I
that,
could do
eh?
Sorry.
something else.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry though. Sorry. Let's see here. You put an ALQ 184 on your jet too, right?
Hey, firm.
Ah. Another
I
I don't have
interesting
one on
point.
now.
I'm gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna leave this here.
User disconnected
Uh,
from your channel.
These are the two different jammers you can put on the A10. The ALQ 131, I believe, is a Northrop design. The ALQ 184 is a Raytheon design. I may have that backwards. Basically, today, if you were to actually show up at an Air Force base, the 131 is the most up-to-date and sophisticated jammer. That's the one that I put on the plane in DCS, though in DCS it does not do what the thing can actually do in the real world.
No, sir.
The system is capable of recognizing what target system is looking at it. So if you're maybe a SAM operator working on an
Urca.
SA-11 buck site, and you ping an A-10 or an F-16 or something that's using an ALQ-131, the 131 sensors integrated to the jet will say, I'm being looked at by this type of SAM. It'll turn around and it will start changing the way that it broadcasts signals and microwave, depending on how you have your defensive system set up, to either throw out a general obscure screen of blur to the radar to confuse everything, or you can specifically target that radar and tell it there's maybe 3 different jets in different locations and confuse the SAM operators. And it'll also mask your aircraft. So
Rough Rider was.
basically it makes it so that they don't see your plane, but they see 3 fake airplanes in other locations other than yours. So it's quite a capable system.
Pull up.
And it'd be really cool if they were able to integrate that into DCS, but probably doubtful.
Altitude.
But the 131, I think, is in Block 5 now. It's highly capable jammer, and it's lighter weight than the 184. So if you're flying an A-10 and weight is a kind of a precious commodity there, I would say definitely go with the 131.
Pull up, pull up.
That is all. Scotch time.
And Roger.
Altitude.
It's about dinner time for me. By the time I got the mission made, I completely gobbled up all my eating time. My coffee's probably cold too. I think we're going to go ahead and conclude for today. Hope to see everybody in the skies in the 104th or the blue flag when 373rd gets their stuff lined out. Or
Blue flag,
159th.
definitely. Blue flag's going to be a really big one. It'd be great to see more guys in there, especially, guys who know what they're doing. Even if you're not an expert, you don't have to be an expert, but man, blue
Just
flag with
not
guys who want to get
exploding in
into
the
it.
runway all the time.
Altitude.
Yeah, guys who
That would be
really want to
helpful.
get into it and, are trying to, be tactical, team oriented and, want to fight and fly together and win. That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Oof. That was a big hit.
Your shit almost hit my jet, bro.
See that? All right, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of your server, Colt.
Okay. Thanks for tuning
You
in,
too.
joining
Thanks,
us. It was a lot of fun. Good hanging out.
See you later, Muscly.
I was impressed at how well I was doing at stand with UA-10s in an Eagle.
Yeah, getting really good at formation flying, man.
We'll see you back for another Learning Sim Sunday at a different time. Feel free, if you check it out on YouTube or on the highlight, to send me messages or drop comments for suggestions for future Learning Sim Sunday content. We do these a little bit differently than Classy Packs and Elganitis do the War Thunder ones, just because DCS is a different bear. But DCS is something we have a lot of fun with, and the teamwork aspect is just incredible. So if you can get on board and start learning the brevity, there's a link to the brevity document down below. And the A10C manual is also down below, the DCS A10C manual, the actual in-game version. Thank you for the follow. If you want to learn that stuff, get it figured out, get your controls all set up, go practice a little bit. Chili Willy's, he's been a shining example of how quickly someone can learn. In the course of about 3 weeks, he went from never seeing the game before to has all the controls and has it all bound, and he's flying out, and he's instructing people now too, from what I understand. So he really turned it around quick. If you sit down, read the book once, just skim it, go fly, start poking around, learning where stuff's at, hit the book again. Things will start to connect once you've put your hands into the controls. Move forward from there. Thank you for the follow. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm going to do some other stuff. I might stream some more later. Take care, guys.